Welcome, everyone. I want to thank you, and I'm very happy everyone can attend this Harmony Pro webinar. We are going to cover a lot of great things on the Harmony product, the portal. We have a very large agenda. Now, very briefly, we might have a slight presentation resolution issue. So far, it seems okay, but we are working on a small backup plan. For now, we're going to leave the main presenter screen as is, but I have a great technical crew here that is aside assisting if need be. So we might have a brief interruption in the webinar if we see that we have any resolution issues with my presentation. I do apologize for that. We have a brand new system here, and it looks like this monitor might need to be replaced. That being said, let's get things started. So today is a introduction to the Harmony Pro, and we're going to cover various things. So before I get into the agenda, I would like to start with, of course, covering our agenda. So let's go ahead and make sure that we have access to that. I'm going to make sure that I'm on the presenter screen, and there we go. So first of all, there we go. Got the latency. So my name is Pike. I want to welcome you all. So I'll give you just a little brief background about myself. So I've actually been with Logitech for 13 years. Very excited to start my 14th year. I've been with the company since 2005. Kind of started in customer service. Really enjoyed my time there. It gave me a great opportunity to work with installers such as yourself on the phone, troubleshooting field issues, really getting to know the product, but not just the product, also the installer as well. From there, I made sure that I really took that knowledge to the database team where I transitioned to and really worked on our data, which again, I'm still in very close communication with our data team. So anytime we see data issues, we make sure that we take care of that. From there, I transitioned to our QA team. So I've worked on various features that are still used today, such as importing remote configurations from one remote to another. Again, it gave me a great opportunity to kind of leverage my domain knowledge and really work on the software platform. And then as of the last 3 years, I've been really focusing on the Pro channel. So it's a very exciting opportunity for us to work with installers as yourself, working on the software, the hardware, and really making this a great solution for your customers. So with that, as you can see, I wear many hats, but really right now my focus is on the Pro channel. So I'm very excited to host this webinar and really make sure that everyone gets to know the product and the tools that we have for you to really get the best out of the product and provide your customer with the best experience. So first thing I'm going to cover is just briefly the agenda. So again, our audience, I'm sure we have many different installers in the audience, some that have heard of Harmony, some that are installing Harmony, and some that have never set up the product or actually heard of the actual setup and how easy it is. So it gives a great opportunity to make sure that we also cover the wide variety of installers that are joining this webinar today. So we are going to do a brief introduction to Harmony. Now, again, those that are familiar with Harmony may still pick up a lot of things that you may not be aware of. So we're going to cover the introduction, and then from there, we're going to move on to the Pro portal. So the Pro portal is, again, a great dealer tool that really allows you to manage your clients, but you can actually do so much more with the dealer portal. So we're going to actually dive into that directly as well. And we're also going to talk about how you can sign up. And right after this webinar, any new requests that I get, I will approve on the fly. So we're going to make sure that everyone can leave this webinar with an actual Pro portal so they can really get started on getting these remotes set up the best way possible. And of course, the portal also comes with an e-learning section, so we're going to cover that as well. I want to also talk about dealer best practices. Again, we want to focus on your success, which is our success. So we're going to really talk about kind of the best practices in the industry when it comes to Harmony. And behold, we are going to talk about a brand new product that we got launching very, very shortly. So again, if you're going to be in CEDIA, definitely come by. We're going to have a great event there where we're going to showcase that brand new product in our booth. But this webinar, we're actually going to discuss very briefly, because we only have an hour, some of the features and capabilities of the Pro 2400. Now, that being said, Rick will talk more about that. We will be announcing also a webinar specifically for the Pro 2400. So stay tuned for that. We will cover that at the end of this webinar. And of course, I love getting questions and providing the right answers. This is a great learning experience, not just for installers, but also for me as well. Every time I talk to installers, I learn a bit more about how our product kind of fits in their business model. So definitely keep the questions coming. Rick will be monitoring those. Now, that being said, for everyone in the West Coast, we do understand you also need to eat. So we're going to make sure we keep this agenda in the 60 minutes that we have, which we got 50 left. But I will not leave this room until we have taken care of any of the questions remaining. So we will go over time to make sure that we do answer all your questions. So definitely don't hold back on the questions. We have a full room here with all the products set up, so we can actually dive into any setup. So moving on, let's go ahead and start and talk a little bit about Harmony and the introduction of it. And as you can see here, the resolution briefly switched. So what we're going to do is give it a quick pause, and we're going to actually modify our screen so we don't have this issue with the resolution. So just bear with me for a minute.
All right, everyone. While Pike is working on that technical issue, I wanted to share with you that we're having another session with our partners at Snap AV, and I've got some details here that I can share on that session. We're going to send out some registration information a little bit later this afternoon, and you're going to get that from whomever your primary contact is. Those of you in the AllNet distributing audience, it'll be from me. But for those of you who are getting it from Volutone, from MRI Direct, or from Custom Plus, you'll get something either this evening or first thing in the morning as well. So it looks like the second session is going to be oh, I don't have the date. Pike, did you say it's the 4th or the 3rd?
That will be the 4th. So we're still just working on this. Should be up and running very, very shortly, Rick. But that'll be on the 4th.
Okay, so we'll send out invitations on that. Did you get your issue resolved?
Not yet. The alternative is we'll switch to my laptop. But hey, let me just see here without a screen. I'm just gonna quickly see if I can just present blindly. I think I might be able to do that.
Okay. I want to say
like,
last time we did that and Brett disabled the secondary monitor and did everything else.
Yeah, so I think we're okay, right? You can see my screen. The resolution is not messing up. So I think we got a good plan B here. So again, my apologies. We're going to continue in moving forward. So introduction to Harmony remotes. So let's talk about the one-touch activity control. So those of you who have been installing remotes other than Harmony are probably used to having to build a very macro heavy script to get the remote to turn on the appropriate devices, switch the correct input, and then control either the cable box or your game console or media streamer. The way Harmony works is we want to look at it from a different approach where we feel that we are actually the owners of the data. So what happens is we want to make sure that our data is providing you the accurate settings so that we can actually build the macros for you. So I'm going to give you an example of how that works. So basically, you know, what the consumers are doing, they're actually enjoying their entertainment devices. They don't know how things, of course, are connected or wired. Now, what the Harmony does, it has a concept of activities. So basically, when you start an activity, the Harmony understands exactly on the back end what needs to be executed. So for instance, if we take Watch TV here, we're going to go ahead and start it. You will see that the remote then, of course, is going to turn on the TV, the cable box, the sound bar. It then understands, well, maybe this is a 2010 TV that maybe needs 10 seconds to warm up. If it's an older unit, maybe you're doing an update to a customer that has older AV, but they want a better control system. Again, as you can see, the Harmony understands how these devices need to power on and how they actually need to be controlled when it comes to the timing. So the beauty of this is you don't really have to build this macro. When you are setting the product up, the only thing that you're doing is you're adding the devices, which we've made very easy because the majority of devices we will discover on the network, but we will also automatically add the timing that's required. So the only thing that's happening is we're just going to ask you which input is your AVR connected to and your TV, for instance, and then we automatically build that macro. And what that really means is you're not spending tons of time building these heavy macros that are very fragile to getting broken if something is moved. Again, an activity takes less than a minute to create. So, and this is where we get these testimonies where the setup is just very fast and easy. But again, we're going to talk about it. Just because it's easy doesn't mean that you can't do advanced programming. We definitely have that as well. So that's basically covering the Harmony activity. What we also do is we make sure that you don't have to do all the manual button programming. So we understand when you're creating a Watch TV with the AVR that the volume needs to be associated to the hard buttons, that, you know, the channel buttons and the menu and such should be associated with the actual DVR. And then, of course, on the LCD screen, we might put a command to adjust the screen aspect ratio, which today is a bit of a sensitive subject, but you can adjust it and make sure you have the right resolution. So again, this comes down to making things a lot easier and faster because really our goal is for you to go in there, set the product up in less than 30 minutes, because we all understand that you're not just setting up the remote, you're setting up a whole system of devices, maybe you're wall mounting a TV, etc. We all know that time is money, and this is where we want to deliver a seamless setup that is very fast and easy to set up. So now, how does all of this work? Well, the back end is actually using a Harmony engine where, again, as we talked about, the Harmony and our data, which again, our data is managed by a dedicated database team of more than 10 analysts, and they built the data where this engine is actually running on. So it understands, well, this is a 2019 Samsung TV. It only takes 5 seconds to boot up. These are the inputs. So all of that is done on the back end. It's not just householding the IR codes. It's we have many attributes of every device. So that way you don't have to build the macro. You just kind of create the activities. So just moving forward on that slide. There we go. So how does this data come together? Well, we have, again, like I mentioned, we have a dedicated database team with 10 full-time database analysts. So we're getting our data from there, but not just from the team that is analyzing the data. Again, we also do crowdsourcing. And since the birth of Harmony, which is back in 2012, we've accumulated over 8 million Harmony customers. So that's a very large database that we can actually utilize and look. So we can see if a customer has learned a command that's not in our database, and then the analyst can add it to our database. Again, if an installer or a consumer calls our support center, not only do we fix the actual data issue, if it's a data issue, which again is a lot less often the case because a lot of times the data has been taken care of, but should they call regarding this data issue, we fix it not just for the consumer or the installer, we make sure that we actually escalate this to our database team so that we can make a new version, and when you're on, next time you're on the job, the device has the accurate data. So it's a constant evolving database that it's very smart. It's again not just a bunch of IR codes. It holds a ton of data, allowing you to get the best programming possible. And again, as I've mentioned, I'm still very close to the data team. I also still do data research and actually do quarterly store visits just to see if there's been improvements or changes. I'll give you an example. Samsung now, in 2013, the Netflix command worked for Samsung, then they dropped it. And as of this year, again, it started functioning again. So now we're going to start incorporating that command into the 2019 models. So again, just a little brief history. As you can see, first one remote was launched back in 2001. That's when the online database went live and then got acquired by Logitech in 2004. Some fun historic facts. And again, you will see this all over the place. Manufacturers like that have control solutions always brag about how many devices they have in a database. We have 275,000 devices. But again, as I was talking about it's not just the devices in a database, it's really the quality and that data, not just the IR codes, but really understanding how these devices function to get the proper programming out there. So again, we work with tons of brand names, smart TVs, AVR, streaming devices. All of these devices are available in our database. So talking about the product, sorry, I just jumped a little ahead here. So we do have also, of course, an IR-based family of remotes. We have a Harmony 950. We have a Harmony 665. Again, these are very simple, straightforward, basic solutions that do tackle a pain point, right? They get rid of all the remotes on the coffee table. You have that very easy to use activity, one-touch experience. They can be easily programmed. They do require a USB connection through a computer. The nice thing is the Harmony 950 does have an upgrade potential, but what I really want to talk about is kind of our hub-based family that we have. So we have the, sorry, I'm jumping a little bit ahead here. So we have the hub-based family here. So you can see we have the Harmony Hub, we have a Harmony Companion, Harmony Elite, and the Harmony Pro. And the Harmony Pro is named, of course, the Harmony Pro because it's really designed for the Pro channel. So and that's what I want to dive into a little bit more, but just make everyone available the products that are available right now on the market. So of course, these hub-based products, we talked about the IR remotes. The benefits of these hub-based products is the closed cabinet control. There is absolutely no need to have to aim the remote. You can position the devices in another location. So they come with huge benefits. The other thing that, of course, these hub-based products bring is better control. With Roku, for instance, because these hub-based products will control the Roku over IP. We actually have favorites where we can launch the channels. Dish we can control through IP. And then, of course, it also creates, not just can we control the Sonos soundbar, we can actually control the whole Sonos system. And we can group, we can ungroup, we can launch favorites, preset the volume for music activities. And then we, of course, we've also introduced IP control for Sony. So again, a lot of these benefits, of course, come with these hub-based products. Also, control for Lutron, for Lifex, Samsung SmartThings. Again, we work with Lutron, Caseta, but also the Raw 2 Select, which is a great solution for smart lighting and your shades. And also the hub-based products have Bluetooth, so they can control a Fire TV that may not even have IR, or a PlayStation 4, for example. You know, all these products that you're looking at can't even be controlled through IR in most scenarios. So this is, again, a great opportunity where that hub-based product is really giving you, you know, the benefits. And this is just a quick rundown of the, you know, the benefits of a hub-based product. So you get that closed cabinet control, you have the ability to control it with an app, Sonos, you know, all of these key elements. There's some smaller things that I haven't even discussed, but you can schedule an activity in the morning or in the evening to either start or stop. So there's a lot of extra programming capabilities as well. And then the sleep timer is another great benefit. So again, we are kind of going through this at a faster pace, and that's just because we have a ton to cover. So the Harmony Pro product highlights, I really want to talk about the Harmony Pro because that's really the product that we have designed for this channel. So just a quick overview on the product itself. The remote itself, it's a touch screen. It has actual vibration feedback. The buttons are backlit. Of course, it's rechargeable. It has a tilt sensor, so if you pick it up, the help button, again, is just a very handy tool in case, for instance, maybe the power goes out, or maybe a child accidentally presses the buttons on the equipment. The help just quickly synchronizes the state of the devices. And a lot of times, just by simply pressing it once, it will fix it right from the get-go. If an input needs to be adjusted, we fire that. And again, we guide the actual user on the screen with the help flow. So again, the home control button is another very cool feature that you find on that product as well. So you can tie in your Lutron lights, for instance, an individual light or a group. The other benefits is that the Harmony Pro comes with an IR precision kit. So these are dedicated IR emitters that come with rubber boots. It also has support for multi-zone AVRs. Again, you're not going to find that on any other product. And we'll do a head-to-head comparison as well. So these are just kind of the highlights of the product. And we'll cover the Harmony Pro versus the Elite in a second as well. So what I also want to briefly talk about is, Logitech makes products that have to be very reliable. Like we have, millions of customers using our product. So the product it can't really fail. That's just not something we can, afford to have happen. So the product needs to be easy to use, but it also needs to be reliable. So if we look at the channel, the actual Pro channel, so our distributor channel, our RMA return rate is less than 1% at this point. So just coming back to Pro versus Elite, I want to just briefly touch on that. So again, the remotes look very similar, but you do see that the Pro has a silver bottom on the unit, and that's to differentiate the product, because the difference is, of course, there's a lot of these differences that make things much easier for you to program it, such as the IR distributing system. So if you look here, the IR precision kit only available for the Pro. The Elite comes with the mini blasters. Again, if someone starts cleaning the AV cabinet, they might end up moving them. You get a call, it no longer works, and you have to go back only to find out that it's a simple mini blaster that got moved. So again, IR precision kit is very useful, of course. Also, the warranty, there's better warranty on this product. So for the Harmony Pro, we offer 2-year manufacturer warranty versus 1 year. And the multi-zone is, again, another great feature. So this is kind of the first level of multi-zone support. So what it allows you to do is, if a customer is watching TV, now they want to maybe broadcast the ball game in the kitchen or on the patio. Again, because it's a touch screen, very similar to your iPhone or Android, they just swipe to the right on the activity, and then they can actually select patio. They don't have to start a separate activity or they have to like hit zone 2. No, you can actually label the additional zone as the patio. So it's a much more friendly user interface where the customer just simply hits patio and we automatically turn on the secondary zone and set it to the correct input. The other benefit, of course, with the LCD screen is that you're getting a lot more control. And this is something I'm gonna kind of run through a little quick, but we have favorites. We support up to 50 favorite channels. Another cool feature that some installers that have been installing Harmony may not know is you don't actually have to start Watch TV. You can actually grab the remote, just hit ESPN. It's gonna automatically turn on the TV, the AVR, the cable box, set it to the correct inputs, and then set it to channel 206. Again, a great feature. We do 50 favorites. You don't have to program these manual. You just hit your zip code and select the provider, and that's it. Again, we're all about trying to save time and money by getting this set up in less than 30 minutes. So we made sure that with the favorites, we provide that same experience. And it's not just favorites for TV. You also have favorites for Sonos. So all the My Sonos favorites that you've added in the Sonos app will automatically get imported. So anything that's added to My Sonos gets automatically imported. And then when it comes to Roku, all these apps, so any app that you have on Roku, up to 50 can be launched directly. Now, talking a little bit about advanced programming, maybe you have a customer that's a cable cord cutter, maybe they use Sling TV. You can actually program a very easy to set up Sling TV activity where you can actually tell the Harmony, you know what, for this activity, I want you to automatically launch that Roku favorite. So you can create a separate activity for that. You can do the same thing for Sonos. So a lot of installers will set something up like an entertainment activity, maybe dinner time, and it will automatically start playing some dinner jazz and turn off the TV. Again, all of these steps may sound complicated. You can set it up in 3 minutes with the Harmony app. And then, of course, home control. Because you have the device section on the Harmony Pro, right from the remote, you can control your lighting, your shades, thermostat with Ecobee, for instance, or August, you can unlock the door. And you can individually control lights or actual rooms. And of course, the thermostat, just a couple of quick glances of how that looks on the remote. The home control buttons, again, they make things much, much easier to use. Maybe you have someone that takes care of cleaning the house or the babysitter. You can just easily tell them, okay, you don't need to grab your phone or anything. That little ball button will turn on all the lights in the living room. And if you hold it for 2 seconds, it will turn them all off. Again, we want to make this remote babysitter and grandma proof. And this is just another part of simplifying the home control piece. And we, of course, have great voice integration. I'm glad I've muted my voice systems. If you have one nearby, you may want to mute it. I won't talk about the naming too much, but yes, we do have great voice integration with Alexa and with Google Home. So any of these activities, you can say, turn on TV or turn on Apple TV, and the Google or the Alexa will automatically start it. And it's not just turning on the activities. You can pause, you can play, you can say pause, or you can actually turn up the volume. And then another great feature is you can say, turn on Discovery Channel, and then actually it will turn on the TV and launch that favorite just with, simple voice. Again, this is great. Maybe you're in the kitchen cooking, you don't want to make your remote all greasy. Again, voice control is a great solution. We've been doing this since 2016, I believe, and right now we have the most users when it comes to the control market. What I mean by that, we have over 500,000 Harmony users just tying this into Alexa alone. And when we last look at Cedia, I think the other competitors, I think we're like at 60,000 at best. So again, this is something that we see a lot of lift, and we make sure that we really nail this experience. So again, another great opportunity to delight your customer and provide an extra install service. So control and setup, we already talked about this briefly. You can see we do still support, Windows and Mac. But really, when it comes to the hub-based products, we are really focusing on the mobile app experience. And we are actually, and I'll talk more about that during our Pro 2400 webinar, but we are doing some really cool things for the Pro channel on the mobile app experience. And we really feel that that's the best direction to go. And you can see that with other manufacturers such as Sonos and Lutron. You know, they're providing the mobile app only experience, and it allows us a lot more flexibility. And that's something that we're very excited to really start moving forward on. So you can use iOS, you can use Android, you can use a tablet, you can use your iPhone. Again, and the setup is very, very straightforward. So I'm just gonna give you an example here. So you can, for instance, copy a configuration. So maybe you're doing 2 guest rooms with a similar setup. You can actually copy them from the same account, or maybe you're upgrading a customer with an older Harmony remote. You can also copy a different account from kind of our legacy system and simply import it with the account credentials. So just coming back to the actual setup experience, the setup is very easy, and we're going to talk about that on the Pro portal very briefly in a second, but it's really 6 easy steps. So it comes down to logging into the Pro portal, adding a new client, setting up the account, putting in the Wi-Fi credentials, and then once that's done, we automatically discover most of your devices. You can, of course, add any devices that are not discovered manually, and then you create your activities. And once that's done, you basically have your configuration with your favorites as well. And then, of course, you can always do small modifications if need be. But for the majority of the programming, that really takes care of most of what you need for your customer. So here's just a brief example of the devices that we discover on your network. So if these devices are powered on, we automatically discover your LG, Samsung, Sony TV, your Roku, Apple TV. Again, we want to make things simple and fast. We don't want you to spend time putting in all these devices manually. Again, you can add them on your own if they're not connected to the network, but a lot of these devices we discover to, again, save you time. And the app is free, so your customer does not have to pay for it. Again, so the app is not just for programming. The app can also be used for controlling. So maybe I'm at work, my kids are doing homework, or they're supposed to be doing homework, but I see that they're watching TV, right? You can turn that off from anywhere as long as you have internet. So again, it gives you a great opportunity. Maybe you're listening to the game in the car and you already want to start ESPN before you walk in the house, so it's ready for you to continue watching the game. Again, great use cases where the phone could be an excellent tool, or the tablet. You have your activities and, of course, your device control right there. Now, this is the next section. I really want to start on using the portal. Now, because I'm operating blindly, I do apologize. There's a little bit of latency that's going to happen, but we're definitely going to make it work. So the Pro portal, we briefly touched on it, and this here you can actually see an example. So I'm already signed in. So to those, what we're going to do is we're just going to briefly log out. And again, because I'm using my secondary computer, there's a little bit of a delay. So the website is pro.myharmony.com. And all you need to do is click request an account. You put in your company info and your contact info. And it's very important that you, if you have a website, definitely put it there. Because again, we send your customer a welcome email with your contact info as well. And there are some other things that we're working on where for the Pro 2400 where that information is very important. So we're gonna just log into my existing portal account. So as you can see, this is the home page. So just very brief overview on the home page. As you can see here, there's quick links to previous webinars. This is a great article. For the sake of time, we're not going to go through it this webinar, but I definitely encourage everyone to read this. This is really talking about the best approach when setting up your Harmony remote for your client. And then a lot of installers are not aware that we have advanced power features, such as keeping the Xbox on between activities, because maybe they're watching, they're playing Call of Duty, they want to quickly watch the game and then get back to their video game. Again, we have these advanced programming capabilities, and this is just another article that really shows you how to get those settings programmed into your remote. And then we, of course, have the compatibility tool. We also have a recently launched dealer forum, so you can post questions there. I'm one of the moderators. There's a lot of extra articles that I've published there that are not technically support articles, but are very beneficial for installers as yourself. And then I am going to briefly touch this. So this is our dedicated dealer support site. So we have an actual team that really works on our content for support. And we also made sure that we created a specific dealer support site where we have all kinds of articles for installers. We have some advanced network settings. Again, your day-to-day installs, you're not going to need that. But again, sometimes we have installers that might do a setup in a school or a more corporate network. Again, these tips can be forwarded to the IT manager there, and it allows the Harmony to communicate to the outside world. So this is just a couple of examples where installers can really get the most. And again, these are just some articles. We have a search right here and a chat bot as well. So that's really the briefly the kind of homepage of the portal. You also see some banners. There's a great case study from Digital Delight on there. Again, we will be updating more of these banners this year. So this is, again, where you can really stay up to date. So now, of course, the other very important piece of the portal is managing your clients. So I'm just going to click on the client section. So you can see here, these are basically all my clients. This is, of course, a demo account. So these are not real accounts, but you can basically, click on a client, and then it basically will list the remotes connected. So customer Tim Dunn has a Harmony Pro. You can see the room where it's set up. You can see how many activities and devices are there. You can also see additional notes. So maybe there's a special entrance, maybe from the back of the apartment, or they have a very vicious dog. You can make those notes under the customer profile. And then, of course, you have the edit remote section. So that is a great feature where you can actually remotely service your client. So perhaps your client added an additional ESPN3 to their cable listing. So you, instead of having to roll out a truck, you can actually, from the Pro portal right here, you can actually modify that favorite channel, add the additional favorite, push the sync, and then the customer just picks up the remote and they have that favorite. Now, again, this is best done using a mobile app. So as you can see here, I'm on a web browser. The Pro portal lives in the web browser, but when it comes to servicing your clients remotely, we definitely encourage doing that through a tablet or your phone, because that will allow you to also really trigger the sync easily afterwards. So this is really kind of a brief customer overview. I'm just gonna make sure we cover as much as we can today. So just coming back here, you can add a new client. So this is where you add a new client. Now, say if you register for Pro Portal account, but you have already been installing Harmony remotes, you can actually import your existing clients as well. So when you do that, all you need to do is put in the email credentials, and then you can request the customer access to give you access to import their account. Or if they provided you with the password, which again, that's between you and the customer, not something that we necessarily encourage, you can manually enter that as well. And speaking of passwords, the nice thing is when you are doing the setup through the portal, so when you click on add new client, you actually don't need to set up a password. You can create the account without the password, and you have access anytime, anywhere. The only time where that access may expire, and that's to protect you and your business and the client, is if the client potentially has a smart door lock or a window shade. So what happens then, if you tie the client in there, you have 48 hours access and then it expires. But then you can just send another request and you have 48 hours again. So again, I know this is a ton of information. So what we're going to do is to learn a lot more. What I really recommend is the e-learning portal. So what you see here on the left here, I'm just going to make sure I recover my mouse here. I'm going to go back here, is the e-learning portal. And the e-learning portal allows you to take specific courses to really, understand the product more and all these additional capabilities that you may not be aware of. Again, I talked to a lot of installers. They've been doing it for years, but when they take the course, they do pick up on certain things that they were perhaps not aware of. So we have, for instance, this is a great course. It's the Harmony Pro new remote setup. And it completely walks you through an actual setup. So the benefit of that is you really get a feel of the whole setup. If you, for instance, have a new installer, before he actually sets up the remote, you can actually have him take that course from scratch, and then he actually gets a good feeling of kind of what it takes to do all these different setup integrations. So just bear with me for a second. I have a little bit of latency because I'm using a secondary screen. I'm going to try to get back to the right tab here. There we go. So what I want to click on, so this is a little preview that I wanted to show you. So these courses, they're not just slides, they're very interactive. So what we do is we actually capture the actual setup on an iPad, we screen capture that, and then we basically make it highly interactive. So you actually have to click through the setup. So I'm gonna, I have to click on setup new. And you can see now it's basically scanning devices through the network. So we'll start discovering these devices, and then we show you examples of how to, for instance, add an additional device. Now this course is still loading, so we're not going to go into the full details of that course. But as you can see here, it discovered the devices. It really walks you through as if you're doing the setup on your own. So again, that's again another great course that I highly recommend. We also have a course on using the brand new Harmony Pro portal and all the new features. So some of you may have been using the portal for the last 2 years. Again, we came with a very large release at the beginning of the year that added a ton of new features like managing additional employees, adding additional stores. A lot of these things are covered in that course to really get you more familiar with the portal. And of course, the e-learning also has collateral, like putting up specific logos on your website. So all of that can be found there as well. So that's really the e-learning part. Another feature that we have for the Harmony Pro is we all know how much time it takes to install firmware. When you go to the job site, you have to install the firmware for the smart TV, the media player. The list is quite large. If it's Sonos or HEOS you're setting up. So what we would like to do is, again, try to save time and not being out in the field, but being able to have someone do that in the office. So we actually have a firmware tool which uses a small little USB client that allows you to preload the firmware on the Harmony. So basically when you launch this, you can actually connect the remote, click update the firmware, and it will preload the firmware on the hub and on the remote without having to program an actual configuration. So you can preload that, so when you go to the job site a week later, it already has that newer firmware, again, saving you that extra 3 to 5 minutes that it takes to install the firmware. So again, another handy feature. Very briefly, the admin, that's where you add additional employees. So for those of you that might register for a Pro Portal today, if you have more than 1 employee, only have 1 employee do the registration, they automatically become an admin, and then they can invite everyone else in the company. They can add different installers. They can either make them an admin or an installer. The difference is that the installer cannot manage employees. So the installer won't even see that admin section. The other thing I want to point out is the support. We still have installers that are calling our consumer line, not being aware that we actually have a dedicated dealer line that is available to you. So again, this can be found right on the portal as well. It's open 7 days a week. It's free of charge, and these are specific agents that are trained to handle the dealer call. So again, it goes into a specific dealer call. So I highly recommend to really use the dealer support line anytime you need assistance during your setup or you have a question. Again, I do suggest if it's a question, again, a lot of times you may find that on our dealer support side. But if it's something specific in the field and you just need to get something resolved on the actual programming, we're definitely here to help as well. So that really kind of summarizes the Pro portal. So what we're now going to briefly cover is, maybe before I jump into that, Rick, do you want to kind of talk about what we got planned for the next webinar? Probably going to give Rick
Sure.
a little.
No, I was on mute. So yeah, so I just got the update from Andy. So it looks like you're going to do pretty similar to what you did early on this one, review of the dealer portal and review of the setup, and then it looks like, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're going deeper into the 2400 on this new event, correct?
Yes, yes. So the event on the 4th, and the one that we'll be hosting for you will be really a complete focus on the actual Harmony Pro 2400. We're gonna talk about the product. We're gonna do an unboxing, and we'll actually do a live setup. So that's gonna be exciting. So we'll actually set one up right out of the box.
Yeah, and I think what Pike just alluded to is we're going to be announcing shortly a second event with this audience on this channel with Pike, and we're going to do a deep dive, and we're going to do setups, and we're going to integrate things like Sonos control, including multi-room Sonos control. We also have a Roku that we're going to integrate, correct, Pike?
Yeah. So that's a good point, Rick. So we're gonna do a full setup in this room here, where I have a Sonos, I have the Lutron Raw to Select system, I have Roku, Dish, Sony IP. We're gonna go all out with kind of the products that installers would be using for their jobs.
Okay, yeah, I think a lot of the people on the call here, well, certainly the entire Snap audience and all of our distribution partners are selling RA2 and RA2 Select, so that'll be great. Yeah, so it'll be a good event. So we'll do a review of the 2500 the 2400 Pro platform, and then a deep dive into some of the IP-based integration and
Yeah.
multi-room scenarios.
Yeah, the multi audio control showing how you can control several Sonos in different rooms, the lighting in different rooms, and how to tie that into activities as well. So the stuff that I kind of briefly touched about today, we'll do that more in a programming session. So what's great about this is I actually have an iPad mini that I will be broadcasting on the screen, so everyone can kind of follow the setup as we go along. So yeah, very, very excited about that. So that's stay tuned for that. So yeah, so the Harmony Pro 2400, it is not launched yet, but you can already read up on it and learn a lot more. It is also on our actual Logitech.com website, and that's actually the page that I'm briefly showing here. So you could look at some of the images, kind of take an overview of the product itself. As you can see here. So as you can see, this is again something that we're very excited to launch a pro specific product. So our current products are using Wi-Fi. You know, we know that installers still love to wire things. And also, actually, anytime you can use PoE, it's a win. So this is not just Ethernet. This actually will support PoE. So the AC adapter is optional. That's for when you're doing a setup that doesn't have PoE. So again, that's a great new hardware feature that we have. The other thing is what you see here is it's an antenna here. Let me just scroll down a little lower here. Get the image right here. So there's two images. Let's look at the back, because that's what the stuff we really care about, right? It's no different than an AV rack. You know, the front may look pretty, but it's the back where, you know, it all happens. So as you can see, not only have we extended the IR ports, they are actually 3.5. So they're standardized. You know, the unit comes with its own IR emitters with boots, but you know, you can use your favorite Xantech. Maybe you want to use an IR flasher with an actual LED that is visible. Maybe you want to run a very long extension, or maybe, you know, your AVR Blu-ray player has an IR in it. You just want to use the male-to-male cables. What's cool, actually, we provide one of the male-to-male cables actually in the packaging. So that's another little bonus. So yeah, so 6 dedicated IR ports that can be individually assigned. Now going back to that antenna, that is not a Wi-Fi antenna. I mean, when you look at that, that's the first thing you assume. No, it's an actual antenna to significantly boost the range. Again, the range is something we want to really improve on, because the unit may not be set up in the same room, meaning that the remote might be in one room and the hub might be in a separate room with all the devices kind of hidden out of sight. So that antenna allows us to extend the range between the remote and the actual hub. And it's an SMA antenna. So it's standardized. So again, it's another great upgrade that we have to really allow for much better range. And again, the range all depends on the environment. But that being said, I ran a beta and I had like 2 installers letting me know that they were outside in their backyard. They had their rack on the first floor. Their wife was watching TV on the 3rd floor, confirming on the phone that he could still change channel. So very impressive. And I myself had an opportunity to test kind of a similar experience where I could actually step outside the yard. It wasn't a very big yard, but I was actually 2 parking spaces away from the house, and I still had range while it was in a basement. So again, these are great features that we're now adding to this new Pro 2400, where the hub is really focused on the Pro channel. So again, more will be covered on the webinar. We're just going to tie into the full setup experience and talk about getting the most out of the product. But definitely stay tuned for that. There's also, I'm not going to go in depth, there's a couple of other cool little improvements that we've done to the Pro portal. And that's what we're going to cover as well. So when we go live with the Pro 2400, I briefly spoke about that. We talked about how we're focusing our efforts on the mobile setup experience. So right now, when you're setting up the product, you see a lot of pages where we're kind of doing a little bit of hand-holding, kind of education. Basically pages such as, well, here's the product info page, and this is where you should place the hub. All of these pages are maybe relevant to someone that's brand new to Harmony. Again, because we have the Pro setup training in our e-learning portal, we really feel for installers, we don't need to educate them during setup. Again, an installer wants to have a quick, straightforward setup. So what we've done now is when we go live with this next release, when you're adding your clients through the Pro portal, you actually will get a specific dealer setup flow, really focused on that setup and not putting in all these additional pages. So you're not going to get pages such as testing your activities, which applies for every single activity, or pages like the product info. The other cool thing is when you're done with the setup, currently installers that have set up the product, they'll get a remote tutorial right on the remote that they have to, turn off for the customer, because again, the installer is going to educate the customer, not the remote, right? This is not for a DIY solution. And again, we also have all these activity tutorial testing pages for every activity. All of that is removed once you start adding your clients using the Pro Portal. So, I can't stress enough, this is a huge benefit. And then again, when you've added to the Pro Portal, you always have the contact information for the customer. So again, stay tuned for that. We got a lot to cover. Again, I do apologize for the screen issue we had here. I will promise you that will not happen the next webinar. We're going to make sure that we wire a decent monitor in this room. Most important, the mic worked great. So I want to thank everyone for their time. I know on the West Coast, people need to eat. I do want to take this opportunity to handle any questions that Rick may not have had a chance to answer, or maybe he wants a little bit more in-depth on my part. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to Rick.
Yeah, we're going to do a Q&A. Okay, so the first question that pops up is from Chris. And he's asking the Harmony Smart Remote, and he actually even gave us the part number, 915-000194. I believe that's the companion, is it not, Pike? He's asking if that is still a current item or if that has been discontinued.
Yeah, I don't. I want to answer this without. Let's forget the part number, because people are going to forget or not know. The difference between the Smart Control and the companion is actually very visible, because the companion remote has home control buttons on the top, whereas the Smart Control is a little bit shorter and doesn't have home control buttons. So the Harmony Companion has actually replaced the Harmony Smart Control. Now, it can still be found in the retail channel by some resellers, but it's really the Companion that has replaced that. Now, there is also something surfacing, and that's called an add-on Smart Control, and that comes without a hub. And that's in a brown box, and that allows you to kind of add it as a secondary remote to the hub. So hopefully that answers your question. If it doesn't, just send Rick another question, and we'll continue making sure that we got you taken care of. But
sure. Okay.
What else we got?
All right, we got another question coming up here. So does the Pro Remote work well if you have multiple displays, like a video matrix or video wall scenario?
That's a very good question. I do get that question from time to time. We do see some jobs where customers will have two TVs side by side. So this actually can be done. Now, you want to keep in mind that the Harmony cannot run two activities at the same time. However, the way that installers approach this is what they do is, briefly on the Pro Portal, I mentioned that power setting feature. That is an actual link in the portal. And Rick, again, if they want to know it, we can always send them the link later. But basically what you would do is, in the power settings, that same feature that I was using as an example for the Xbox, you would actually apply to all the devices in that room. So that way you can have an activity TV left and TV right, or whatever you want to call it. And then when you switch between, it's not going to turn off that secondary cable box or that Xbox. They remain on. Now, keep in mind, the control is just going to be for that TV left or right. They just quickly switch between the two activities, which once the customer is aware of that actually works quite well. So that's the experience that we offer at this point.
Okay, thanks for the clarification. All right, so we're going to keep moving on.
Yep.
Let me see. From a Lutron standpoint, are we compatible with full radio RA2 or RA2 Select only?
RA2 Select only. We have not dived into that. We just where our product fits. We just see, Lutron is actually investing a lot into that RA2 Select platform. and we just see a lot of installers really gravitating to that. It's now supports 4 bridges. It supports a lot of endpoints. I know it doesn't have all the controllers, but yeah, as it stands right now, we support Caseta and Raw to Select.
Perfect. Okay, I was just going to ask about Caseta. Okay, so the Apple TV integration, and I know you talked about how the Apple TV integration can be done with Bluetooth instead of
Yeah.
IP. Is this endorsed by Apple, or is this something that is potentially going to be broken by a firmware update that gets pushed?
No, I mean, so it's not endorsed by Apple, but we are basically tying into the Apple TV as if you're tying in a Bluetooth keyboard. So Apple's never going to break that. They're never going to remove that. And that's a dedicated piece, and that was even available on the 3rd gen Apple TV. So right now, by default, and this may change as it stands right now, when you're doing a device discovery, you're going to find an Apple TV that is IR only. To use the Bluetooth, you're going to have to go to the support article. So as I mentioned on the Pro side, and actually I will just see if I can bring that up so that way everyone knows how to get to that. Just bear with me. So again, on the Pro portal, you go, for instance, the dealer support site. This is kind of a great example to, where you can find these answers. So I'm just gonna, type in Apple TV here. Make sure that I have a connection to the unit. So, okay, Apple TV. I'm gonna hit search, and let's see. So this is the article. It's the Harmony experience with Apple TV. And then when you scroll all the way to the bottom, we may need to make sure that, again, we are selecting a hub-based product. No, not all the way to the bottom, but just before the FAQ sections. The FAQ section here. So I would like to use Apple TV using Bluetooth. So we had to name it different because we don't want it to confuse customers that are now just adding the device through a scan. So the manufacturer is Harmony Beta, and then you add test Apple TV. Now I've been using this at home for over a year. I've pushed this to beta users for over a year. The last time I looked at the data, we have thousands of customers already using the Bluetooth, because again, the Bluetooth allows you to get that better experience. You have that home button, which again, a lot of installers approach me, I'm adding the IR version and I can't turn it off. I can't, I don't have a home button. So all of that is taken care of in this Bluetooth profile. So great question. What else we got, Rick?
Perfect. Okay, we got a question from Neno about the hub and the Pro 24 hub. Is there a wall mount available, or are there keystone or keyhole mounts on it? And then also, are there talkback LEDs or any sort of feedback on the port to make sure that the hub is functioning as far as from a testing standpoint?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Let me just go back to the site. Sorry, I know there's a slight latency on my part. I'm really not that slow. It's just the second screen. So these are all great questions. So we actually, we don't have a bracket, but we do actually provide you, okay, there we go, with actual keyhole mounts, and we actually pack in screws to actually wall mounted or ceiling mounted right there. And when it comes to the IR blaster, that's a great question, and something I should have covered on the Harmony Pro. So those of you, the Harmony Pro has 6 IR emitters, and so does the Harmony Pro hub, meaning inside this hub, we have 2 emitters pointing on the nose straight out, 2 pointing right up to the ceiling, and 2 pointing left and right. So in many times it gets the job done. Sometimes for a projector, if you don't want to run the wire. That being said, anytime you can use an emitter, it's of course a win, but it all depends on your setup. So it's definitely there. And I want to actually add on to that follow-up question that may come, that some of you are not aware. The remote also has an IR emitter. Now, by default, we do not enable that, and I'll explain to you why. So there are some scenarios where you may want to use the IR on the remote. Again, we talked about the benefits of having the hub do that work, so you don't have to aim it. I wanted to make sure that everyone is aware that when you assign a device to the remote, the controlling by voice kind of goes out the door because we can't wake up the remote. As well as if you're using the Harmony app. So that's really a last resort, but we do want to provide you that flexibility. I use the IR option just for a little tower fan that I don't really use in an activity, but I just want to turn on that fan because I'm too lazy to walk to it. So that's a great use case. So excellent, great question. What else we got, Rick?
Okay, so we've got a follow-up question here about the hardware. The silver on the bottom of the Pro remote, the question is it as durable as the black finish on the Elite remote? And I can answer this one because I've got a sample that sits on my desk, and the will call, the will call in Troy, Michigan is slamming busy. So that thing comes in and out of my dock as I'm showing it off. The first thing I do when somebody asks about Harmony is I say, feel, fit, and finish the remote, and I undock it and hand them the remote.
Yeah.
So that thing's been in and out of that cradle 1,000 times. And if mine's not scratched off, I don't think anyone's is going to get scratched off. So
I could not have said it better. I would like to record this.
Okay, so I think it's easily as durable as the black finish. So yeah, there's no need to be concerned about the durability of the product.
Again, we make keyboards, mice, webcams. We make so many products, right? That we need to put in the proper testing and research of our products to make them durable, and we need to drop test them. All of that is critical to our products. So great question, but yeah, like Rick said, that is definitely durable, and yeah, I have yet to see that as well myself. So.
Okay, so we've got some additional questions here. Let's go to another hardware question. Any issue using the 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi versus a 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, especially in homes where the 2.4 and 5 gigahertz use the same SSID?
So we don't care on the same SSID. So we only support 2.4, not 5. Again, we really focused on the Ethernet experience. That being said, I'm using Eero at home with not splitting up the SSIDs. I used to do this all the time because back in the day, Apple had a huge issue with that. They fixed that now. But we work with either. And if you're doing a setup and your phone is on the 5 gigahertz, that's fine. As long as we're on the same network, your phone can be on the 5 gigahertz and the hub can be on the 2.4. Speaking of networks, on the remote itself, you can actually in the settings section, when you go to settings, general about, you can actually see the signal strength of the hub. So that's another handy tip to make sure that the hub has a decent connection on that 2.4 bandwidth. So a small little optimization, if you're really getting to the network, you can also do DHCP reservation. This will just be quicker when controlling IP devices, if devices get rebooted and so forth. Again, that's something I would do for all of the devices. So, but again, with the Pro 2400, having that Ethernet kind of takes care of that as well. We understand that not every setup allows you to use Ethernet, and that's why we, of course, still have the 2.4 in there as well. So great question. What else we got?
All right, so speaking of remote diagnostics, are we allowed to talk about the thing at the place with the people at the place?
Come again, sorry?
Oversee.
Oh, yeah. So that's a good question. I've been actually, I think we're eventually gonna put an oversee in here. That's in the works. But yeah, so the Pro 2400 will allow you to kind of remotely monitor that unit and reboot it at this point. That's we don't have an integration with Oversee at this point. That's probably as much as we can say about that. Logitech is always looking at newer technologies, and when it comes to the Pro channel, we're closely listening to installers. I also have an audience listening because we want to learn more and see what is important to installers. So if we see that there is definitely a lot of demand for Oversee, that's something we could potentially explore and see if there's strong use case and something that translates in more growth for Harmony, of course. So good question.
Okay, sure, we can take that up later. Okay, thanks for the update on that. Okay, learning a device or a remote that's not in the database, what are the steps?
Great question. So yeah, a little bit of history. So just also some data. It's less than, I believe, less than 3% of our customers actually have to learn a device in our database. That being said, it's pretty straightforward. So again, we want to simplify things. So let me just walk you through. If a device is not in our database, the first thing that we may say, well, we have found a very similar device. So we'll give you a similar device that could work. There can be a scenario where we don't have a similar device. We're going to ask you to learn 3 commands, only 3 commands. If we have an issue with it, might turn into 5 at most. Now you can actually learn right to the hub. You just aim it at the Logitech logo at 45%, which we show a pretty animation for as well. You press and release. We analyze that command. It goes to our database and we find the closest language. So after those 3 commands, we can usually pinpoint that to a language that is identical or very similar. If that doesn't work, you can actually learn every command manual. I suggest, if that's too painful, again, the Pro dealer form, I monitor, I will work with the database team. Anytime an installer reaches out that way, I like to escalate things quick and make it as painless as possible. And we also have, of course, the contact us email that goes to also our data team. So overall, not common, not painful, but we can definitely make that happen. We have an actual IR analyst. That's all that person does is work on IR language. So we got you covered. All
Okay,
right.
nice.
What else we
All
got?
right. Next question. Multi-zone. This person says they have heard there were issues with multi-zone a few months ago. Is this something that's been recently resolved, or are there any updates in the way multi-zone has been handled with the Pro Remote, specifically the new Pro Remote?
Yeah, have that person, first of all, share my contact info. I would love to hear where on the web this exists or lives. Nothing has changed with our multi-zone experience. It has been the same from the get-go. Now, we do sometimes have installers that will push it to the limit because, again, we are, just to be clear, we are a single room entertainment control experience, and we can do the whole home when it comes to smart lighting, shades, audio distribution such as Sonos and HEOS. What that means is you can have up to 15 hubs. If you have 15 rooms in your house, you can put 15 separate Harmony units in there. They can all talk to the Sonos and Lutron. Talking about the multi-zone, the way that we set up that experience, and this is kind of a first level control. It's not a secondary level control where you start doing things like, well, I'm gonna have the secondary zone do a different source and a different input. Then you're talking more multi-room. What we want to establish with the multi-zone control, and the strongest use case that we see, is a lot of times customers just want to broadcast that additional audio. They want to either listen to music in the living room and the patio and the kitchen, and it's the same source on all 3 zones, or the ball game is on and they want to broadcast that on the patio. That's the experience we support. Now, that experience has never been broken, just to be clear. It sounds more like someone wanted to do something else. Now, there are creative solutions. I can work with installers that they, with some advice, they can do things, but we don't officially support that, just to be clear.
Okay, thank you. All right, now so let's go into that a little bit because I do have a
Mhm.
follow-up question here. Um, One of our other questions that comes from Mike says, can we add more than one Harmony remote to one hub? And then also, when is it time to add a second hub?
Those are great questions. So you cannot add the same remote, so you can't add another Pro to Pro Hub. That's not supported. We have the Smart Control add-on, so that's adding a non-LCD screen type of remote, such as a Companion or a Smart Control to a Harmony Pro. So then it becomes an additional remote that is supported. But the same remote is not supported. When is the time to, again, to add another hub? Well, what you want to do is really, you want a hub for the living room. You want a hub for the guest room, the bedroom. They all should have their own hub, which you basically name based on the location. So if it's going to be controlling different entertainment devices in a different room, it's time to put a separate hub there.
Okay, and then can you have, so let's kind of go back to the two remotes. So the use case for that would, let's say, be the master suite where you've got a Pro with the LCD on the one side nightstand, and then the other nightstand you can
Yeah,
slap the Companion, so that way that person could turn the system on
yeah,
and off, but not necessarily deep dive control on the
yeah.
touch screen. All they're doing is
Mm-hmm.
all they're doing is turning it off without having to disturb their partner.
That's a perfect use case, yes, and
Yeah.
that's you want to stay away from disturbing your partner.
Well,
The other secondary option is if they can also use their phone, or if it's a Sonos One beside their bed, they can say, "Hey Google or Alexa, turn off the TV." But that might disturb them because it's voice. So the phone could be a great solution as well, or tablet, and of course that add-on. So.
and again, okay, so we talked about this in the call leading up to the session. How many apps can be live at one particular time in one particular house?
So the app control is unlimited, but when it comes to controlling one hub at the same time, it's 4 active connections, which is, we haven't seen anyone wanting to do more because it just turns into a big fight in the household. So it means, yeah, 4 can be connected to the same hub at the same time.
Okay, yeah, and I think that's perfect. So, a couple family members on iPhones, and then also like an iPad docked in an iPort sleeve on the wall or something to that
Yeah,
effect. All of those devices can all be connected simultaneously as long as there's not more than 4 trying to
to the
access one
same hub.
hub at
Yeah,
one
but
time.
you could have 4 connected to one room and 4 to another room, of course.
Okay, nice. All right, we're gonna move on.
All right.
Um, I got a couple questions about Pro Portal. You want to do a little quick pivot?
Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Rick is asking, can you go back a couple slides and show the registration for the Pro Portal? And
Yeah.
then while you're doing that, Mark
Mhm.
is asking that he sent the request for Pro Portal during the webinar, and he got a reply saying it takes up to 2 days to approve. Now,
It
I will
does,
say,
but
Mark, I got that same notification, and I got
yeah.
approved in like a couple hours.
Yeah, so that's just in case I'm sitting on the beach and I'm on holidays, or any of my colleagues. But usually I'm not sitting on the beach, unfortunately. So after this webinar, sorry, was it Mark? You'll be the first on the list. I got you.
Look at that, Mark. You got VIP. All right. Yeah. So, are you going back to the
Yeah, I'm
registration
gonna
link for Pro
go
Portal?
back. I'm just gonna type in the website because there's a slight little latency on my side. But while we wait for that, um, let's all you basically need to do is you need to basically type in pro.myharmony.com, and then there is just a button there basically where you would register. So let's go ahead and remove this. So pro, it's already there, .myharmony.com. There we go. Okay, that's on the Pro portal. Sorry, it's going. Like I said, this will be much faster on the next webinar.
Okay, perfect. And while you're doing that, I'm going to bang through some of these other ones. Some of these things I can answer. Peter said, you missed most of the webinar. We're going to have it recorded. Absolutely. Follow up with us for a link. So whoever sent you the registration link, whether it was me, this is Rick Murphy from AllNet, or whether it was your contact at MRI Direct, ValueTone, or Custom Plus, I don't recognize your company name. So whoever sent it to you, reach out to me via email. And my email is rick.murphy@allnetdistributing.com. That's ALLNET distributing.com. I'm happy to help. All this will be archived and uploaded onto AllNet's YouTube archive, which is youtube.com/allnetdistributingu, and that's just the letter U at the end. Okay, next question that I can answer. Pricing. Michael's asking about pricing. Reach out to your distributor. So I will share that we all key off the same pricing that is found on the Snap AV portal. So if you have your Snap AVS code and you want to log in the Snap portal, you can check pricing there, or you can reach out to whichever local distributor you purchase from. Again, this call is being broadcast simultaneously to the audiences for AllNet Distributing in the Midwest, MRI Direct in the Northeast, ValueTone in the Southwest, and Custom Plus Distributing in the Northwest. So we're happy to have you all aboard. So thanks everyone for joining us today. All right, next question that I can answer. You know what? I got another one for you, Pike. Mitchell's asking, this is another Pro Portal question. Who do we contact when our Pro account won't log in? We can't use our login on the website/portal. Pike, you there? Pike, for some reason you're muted. I see that your mute icon is on. All right, everyone. It looks like we finally broke Pike's connection. Oh, wait, are you back?
I'm gonna use my laptop.
Nope, we got echo.
Yeah, kill that. The audio there. How is this?
Perfect, okay. Wow,
Yeah,
that's
so
crazy.
switch
All
to
right,
my laptop. So there we go. We
all
lost,
right.
definitely lost audio, but can you stop sharing the secondary computer, Rick? And then we'll just continue on the questions.
I'm just gonna make you want me to make your new machine presenter?
Yeah, the other machine, the presenter that will solve.
Okay. Hopefully there's nothing crazy on the screen.
There is nothing crazy on the screen, just my beautiful wallpaper right now.
Okay. All right, yeah, that's perfect.
There we go. Okay, yeah, sorry. So let's continue the questions.
Sure.
We're talking about the Pro Portal. Please have that gentleman email me directly, and I will work with him.
Okay, perfect. All right, so reach out to Pike. If you don't have Pike's contact information, feel free to reach out to me, or I'll just write it down. So it looks like it's Mitchell Pike. So I'll follow up with Mitchell's contact info when we're done. All right, so the next question, Joseph's asking about voice control. So obviously we've got the voice control through the Echoes, the Dots, the Google Home devices. Will we have voice control on a remote anytime soon?
So as a kind of see how the market will respond to that, we actually have launched a product that is currently not available through distribution, but we will be showcasing this at CEDIA, and this is a voice-centric Harmony remote, specifically designed on the voice experience. And this has an integration with Alexa, not Google at this point. So this is an Alexa remote control. It's really having a full-blown Alexa in the remote. So you can also ask it about weather or jokes or make silly noises. But primarily, it's, of course, getting that whole entertainment experience. So you launch all the activities by hitting kind of the voice button there, and you have full control. You can launch apps. There is control over of course, your activities. All of that is there. So again, that information can be found on our website, and we'll have a demo at CEDIA as well.
Okay, and then can we add that remote to any of the current hubs? It's a standalone piece?
It will appear on the Pro Portal. It doesn't support a Pro setup at this point. And the software has also been completely kind of revamped for this product. So it's a totally different experience. So it does come with a Blaster. So it is a hub-based, which they refer to as Blaster. As well. It's not, we don't really, there we go. Here's the better pictures of the international Blaster, which is also a 3.5 jack as well.
Okay, so I guess we can talk about that in another session or down the road. But as of right now, to directly answer your question, it does not look. We don't have a voice button on the current products,
No.
and there's. I know the Harmony is really kind of tight to the vest when it talks about new products, so no voice button today. All right, next question. Ken is asking about RS-232 connecting to either one-way or two-way RS-232 control, and that's a no, correct?
That is a no. We much rather explore potentially looking at more IP control and the value that can bring to installers. We know that TV is the biggest pain point running IR. Because we have our smart state engine, we do, as long as the remote is used, kind of keep track of everything that's going on. Of course, you can't necessarily compare that with RS-232, but it allows for us to really make sure that we're not accidentally turning, the thing is the industry calls toad devices, those power toggles. We handle those very carefully. So yeah,
okay.
so no, that's not in the works.
And again, walking back to the into the slide deck, we got the help button on the Harmony platform. So if things do get out of sync, even if they are discrete on, discrete off, if or like Pike said, if it's a device with toggles,
We ask you, yeah,
we
we
can
don't.
correct the state. And this is something that, I mean, you know, I know a lot of people in the audience know who my boss is, Wally. So Wally has the Harmony system in his second house,
Yeah.
and he did it himself. If Wally can program this thing, anyone can program this thing for real. All right.
Yeah,
So
and speaking of that, and then that's, I hear it in installers, but a lot of times the beauty is a lot of people don't want to do it. That's, they can cut their grass, they don't want to do that. I mean, there's even apps to walk your dog. Why get a dog? It's the beauty. It's the service industry, right? And even though this product like is easy to set up, it's still people don't want to bother with it, and that's why this is such a great product for the installer channel as well. Now, just looping back into the sales question, I do want to also mention that the Pro product, so our Pro line, meaning the Harmony Pro and the soon to be released Pro 2400, will not be available on Amazon, will not be available at Best Buy. This is a product that can only be sold through distribution. So again, these are real products made for the installer channel. So
nice. And we have no plans to open up to sell these products to end users either. So we're dedicated to the pro channel. We're dedicated to our dealer base. So this is definitely something that has some legs, and we're very happy to be a part of it. All right, we're gonna move on. So speaking of skills, so Jeremy's got a follow-up question about Alexa skills. He said that in his experience, the Alexa skill has been fine uh, after setup with the Smart and the Elite models, but if the favorite channels are added or other activities are added afterward, the Discover devices will not find the new Harmony features. He has to disable the Alexa skill and then re-enable the Alexa skill to adopt any new features. Has this been changed, or is this something that is resolved in this new Pro 2400 model?
no, we're bound kind of by the design of Amazon. So the experience is right. Maybe there's certain favorite channels that we don't want to automatically launch. We have to also think of kids in the household, right? So those are scenarios you have to opt into wanting to launch specific channels, and so forth. So, and that disable enable, that's the design that Amazon has put in place, not just for us but for other skills as well at this point. So um, hopefully they might change that, but that's how the experience is at this point. So
Okay, perfect. All right, so James, it looks like James has left, but I'll ask James this question. So we talked about Roku, and I know that the Roku device, or I'm sorry, the Roku can operate the Roku Ultra as well as the streaming sticks. And I know this because I have a streaming stick with the Harmony 2400 system because I'm lucky enough to have been included on the beta. But James is asking, what about the Roku TVs? The
mm-hmm.
TCL TVs that are Roku, are those fully controlled, or is it just the Roku functionality, or will it also turn the TVs on and off and the other functions of the Roku TV product?
Yeah, they are fully controlled now by default, and this is something I'm working and exploring with the data team. They were hesitant to use the IP command to wake it up. So they added the IR by default, but there's a secondary on for IP in that language that has been working even in a deep sleep state. So we might eventually promote that change. We have full control over the Roku TV and the apps, so it's the full experience on TCL, on Toshiba, basically all of Sharp, all these manufacturers that have tied that in. So that's definitely available.
I didn't even know there were that many manufacturers of Roku TVs. Nice. Okay. Let me see. Any plans for HomeKit?
Not at this time. Again, this is we do see there's more and more manufacturers tying it into their TVs, and we are always closely kind of watching the market and what technologies are evolving and where it makes sense. But at this point, there's no commitment as of yet.
Okay. So Jeff's asking a question about Snap AV's media over IP, which we call MOIP. That's the kind of like our version of a matrix that works over IP. Can Harmony control the Snap AV MOIP system? If not, are there plans to do this in the works?
As of now, we only support the IR-based products that Snap AV has. Again, we're very excited about the relationship that we have started now with Snap AV. There has not been a roadmap or anything at this point that we can share or comment about, but we are definitely looking at all the different experiences that we see with Snap AV and their installers. So it's something we're watching closely.
Okay. So we've got some additional questions that popped in here. Some of them are broken up into multiple windows, so it's difficult to find. Okay. What's the status on Google Voice Control? Tech support said there may be an issue with Google Voice Control.
Not to my knowledge. I can follow up with the team, just have them contact me, share my email, and then I would like
Sure.
to that installer what
Yeah.
the issue is. I'm
All
using it at a hotel, so.
Oh, you are yourself? Okay. Yeah, Mike, reach out to Pike and chat with him about that. All right. Let me see. So Steve is asking about music services and music streaming devices. The Pro 2400, you mentioned control over Sonos and Denon/Marantz Hios. Will it also control the Yamaha MusicCast platform, which is the preferred platform at Snap AV and most of the distribution partners as well?
Yeah, it's a great system. They were actually the first. At this point, we don't have an integration as of yet, and it just comes back to the same thing as HomeKit. You know, we are, you know, when we do an integration, we carefully pick them, and we pick them based on where we can see potential growth. So again, this is something where we're looking at, we'll probably be doing more dealer surveys, see what kind of engagement we get on the forum, and also talking more closely to our distributors. But at this point, we don't have an integration with MusicCast as of yet.
Okay, perfect. All right. So let's see. Is there a way to make the remote work in certain PS4 apps like Hulu and Amazon Prime using the PS4 as streaming device as opposed to using a Roku? It works fine with Netflix and YouTube, but not with other the video apps. So PS4, is PS4 connectivity, is that IP or is that Bluetooth pipe?
Using Bluetooth. Now that
Okay.
being said, so this comes, and I've seen this in the past too with smart TVs. Each streaming service or app, they are. If you take Apple, they have a process where every app needs to deliver that's kind of that same experience. But with other platforms, there's not as strict of validation of how it should behave. So unfortunately, this is what you see with PS4 as well. That not every app was designed with in mind using a Bluetooth keyboard or controller such as ourselves properly, because it just didn't go through that process. So unfortunately, that is on the app developer to resolve. Now there is a company that focused more on, we're using again kind of more like a Bluetooth keyboard type of experience. There's a accessory that you could try out. Again, I haven't tried it lately on Hulu and such, but PDP makes an IR to Bluetooth adapter, and they work closely with PlayStation on kind of having a different type of control that might be a little bit more in-depth, but that's something you would have to explore. This is a PDP IR to Bluetooth adapter.
Okay. So realistically, though, probably the best practice recommendation for a pro installer is to use a device that has defined and consistent control like a Roku or an Apple TV.
Yeah, and they're really designed for gaming console is it's still the secondary experience, where with Roku, for instance, it's the primary experience. And then us having that app launching control, you really get a lot more out of the kind of control experience for sure.
Sure. I mean, this is the same argument as, why don't we use the streaming services that are built into a Blu-ray player, because sometimes Blu-ray players act weird. Why don't we use the music services that are built into the back of an AV receiver, as opposed to using a Sonos that is going out to find Spotify and Rhapsody and whatnot, because sometimes they act weird. So we like to use devices that don't act weird. Absolutely.
If there wasn't a need for it, Roku wouldn't exist. The fact that Roku exists on its own demonstrates that, because not every device has a great experience when it comes to that. So.
Okay, perfect. All right. Let me see. Can we get support for iDevices product to be used in the home controls? I don't know what that is. Is that something?
iDevices are more HomeKit. So yeah, we don't have a tie-in at this point to HomeKit. We support.
Okay. Oh, that I understand that iDevices. Yes. Sorry. So yeah, we have the app. That's about it.
Yeah, so iDevice, I think what the question was is if the remote can control one of their smart plugs. And so on the forum, I do have a great article that really talks about the kind of smart devices and primarily smart plugs that we can control, primarily through, for instance, SmartThings or Lutron can also be changed into a smart plug, like an appliance controller. So that's something I would recommend to check out to kind of see where we can, fit in that picture.
Okay, nice. All right.
Oh, almost breaking a new record on the questions.
We're getting there here, aren't we? Oh, here it is. If and then. So on our last webinar, we talked about IFTTT, and then there was some change in how IFTTT works within our industry. What is the current status of using Boolean variables like if then and if else? And do we still have to use IFTTT?
Yeah, that's a great question. Let me briefly pause on that and make sure I provide the most accurate answer. Okay, so yeah, when it comes to if, yeah, they're changing their business model. That being said, the recipes, as they call them, they're still all available. We won't be publishing any new ones, but the ones that are there are readily available, as well as the ones that have been built by the community. And then the alternative, there's also another alternative to IFTT, which is Yonomi, which we also have an integration with as well, which is very similar.
Okay, perfect. All right. I think we have finally come to the end of our Q&A.
Great questions. So
yeah, absolutely. All right, so I'll reach out and I'll reach out to all the partners and we'll see if we can't do some follow-up with some of these individuals that had some issues like with the Pro Portal or whatever. So we'll find out who these people are and get them connected to you, Pike, so you can kind of give them some one-on-one support.
we'll take care of them.
All right.
The portal accounts right after this webinar. We will definitely make sure the next webinar will be presented on a proper screen with high resolution. So, and yeah, I want to thank everyone for joining. If you do later come up with a question, again, the dealer forum is another great way of getting questions answered. And of course, we have our dealer support side. So yeah, I want to thank everyone, and I also want to thank Rick for facilitating the webinar and answering and helping taking care of all the questions, and looking forward to have everyone for our next webinar.
All right, yeah, so thanks everyone for taking the time to join us today. Again, we're going to do this every week. So we've got some interesting webinars on deck. Please stay tuned, and we're glad to have you all with us now. For those of you who are from the Midwest, thanks for playing along as we moved the time. So we moved the time so we could be in a little better spot for our friends out on the West Coast. Otherwise, they would have had to have gotten up and joined us before breakfast. We would have done it at the times that we normally did it for the East Coast and Central Time Zone. So thanks everyone for playing along with us, and this was our first one with the larger group, and I think it went very well. So Pike, thanks for being our guinea pig, so to speak, and helping us get this going. And yeah, we're going to send out an invite to everyone to participate in your session that you're doing with Andy Balassi at Snap AV. We're going to do a little bit deeper dive in the 2400, and I would invite everyone who's still on the call to consider joining onto that one to learn more about the new 2400 platform. Pike sent me one a couple months ago as part of the beta program, and it's really a fantastic platform. I've had a lot of different stuff at home, and the number one comment that I get from pros is the fit and finish. The quality of the devices is very high. So it's something you can be proud of to give your customers, because you're giving them, a high quality device. It's heavy, it feels good, and it doesn't feel like a cheap plastic device. Like a lot of our other controllers in our space, they're from companies that make 200 pieces a year, and these guys are making 500,000 pieces a year between their different platforms in different vertical segments of the consumer electronics industry. So the fit and finish and the quality is very high. So we're glad to have them on as a partner. And Pike, thank you again for doing this presentation with us today. We're going to go ahead and end the webinar now.
Excellent. Thank you.